Healing Shame, Part 5. So, I love how big this conversation's getting, seeing Duncan's post about shame as well. And in his video, he talked about how rarely, if ever, is shame a useful thing. It's like a really, to me, it's a really crude tool to help us remember not to repeat a mistake, right? Like I'm gonna brand my arm to remind me never to do such and such again, right? So shame is that crude thing, and as I said in an earlier video, shame, being ashamed, hides from itself. So I've found one of the great tools to healing my shame was not to let it hide. And I loved how Duncan just listed off all the things he'd felt ashamed of. And yeah, I just started off this series just admitting the car accident where I killed someone that I'd carried so much shame around. And just naming that. I couldn't talk about it. Leave the room if someone tried to talk about it. I'd change the subject. I'd be like, yeah, it hurts. I have to go to the bathroom. Excuse me, Like, but once, the thing about darkness is, and shame kind of occurs to our minds as darkness, when you shine a light on darkness or shadow, it goes away. It's not as dark anymore. It's like, oh, it's just a shadow, right? So if you're feeling shame about something, you just speaking it can really heal it. And there's also a piece in Duncan's video where he listed really beautifully and vulnerably in a way that had me just want to be closer friends with him, right? Thanks, Duncan. He said, I feel shame around this, I feel shame around that, I feel shame around that. And there's a way that the mind just can take whatever we say and kind of make it more true. Like every time that you'll see the media do this, so like there's weapons of mass destruction, there's weapons of mass destruction, there's weapons of mass destruction. People are like, ooh, there's weapons of mass destruction, right? So you say, I feel shame around this, I feel shame around this, I feel shame around this. It's like, oh, I feel shame around this. So what I like to do with that piece, so the first one is just admit it, stop hiding your shame. That's the shame cycle, right? 2 is to speak about it in the past tense. So instead of like, yeah, I feel really ashamed of, what a mess my laundry room is, right, or my office is, I could say, I used to feel ashamed of it. Now, fuck it, there it goes. And it's cleaner than it used to be. And who cares? Because shame, there's this fear when we feel ashamed that we're going to be ostracized or kicked out of the tribe. It's very primal to any communal living creature to want to stay acceptable to its tribe. So we do things that aren't acceptable, we can get kicked out. And I love that story about that tribe in Africa that when the mother's pregnant, they'll come up with a song for the baby. When the baby's born, they'll sing that song. And at each of its birthdays, they'll sing its song. And its wedding, they'll sing its song. And any of its ceremonies, they'll sing its song. When it dies, they'll sing its song. And when it breaks a rule of the tribe, they'll sing its song to remind it of who it is. So remember who you are. And the tribe in those cultures, they remind you and draw you back in. They don't push you out. So they say. So yeah, so I hope these videos are helping you deal with your shame. If you want more personal attention, I do coach people on healing shame. I've done so much work on it. I can maybe be of some use. Feel free to reach out and ask me for help around that. I won't charge you unless we kind of go into a big agreement around it. But I'm certainly open to having 15-minute conversations with anyone. Some people have helped just through instant messaging on Facebook. So I'm totally open to helping. I'd love to see a shameless world. People felt free to be their full, bold self. Because, we are capable of so much love. But when we're ashamed, we hide our love. Because we think that something's bad about us. We hide it. But we've got to share love, because the world will keep crumbling and doing ever this downward, crunchy spiral we're in, until people just live for love rather than to hide their shame. Very different. Very different. Take your attention off yourself. Put it out on the world. Give it away. Even if it's imperfect, give it away. That's it for today. Subscribe, like, reach out, talk, questions, comments. How can I make this better? Love more.